शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनुपृष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापत्कमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सुतं सजीवम् साधुवेदं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सागण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी कृष्णानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्द माधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा. Let's say Bhagavatam invocation prayers and we will recite this, read and recite this beautiful verse. Please recite after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Nārangi namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudire nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavad sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopa kumaraya govindaya namo namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam. Mataji, can you show everyone? This is Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There are 12 such cantos. This is just the first canto, and we are, if you can see on my screen, Srimad Bhagavatam. This is 13th chapter and 10th verse. Okay. The name of this chapter is, let me see. I hope I'm connected to, yeah. Dhritarashtra quits home. So this is, here you go. So this chapter, it's very important because it tells us how, I'm going to speak mostly in English because there are many kids here and I want them to understand and be engaged. So not everybody may know Hindi. So in this chapter, you know, we understand how such a soul like Dhritarashtra, who was so attached to his kingdom, to his sons, to everything around him, he was so power hungry. That he wanted to hold on to his kingdom despite no matter how much annihilation and how much bloodshed happens, right? He was ready to displease Krishna. He was ready to displease his virtuous, righteous nephews, the 5 Pandavas. He was ready to displease Queen Kunti Maharani, who is such a wonderful devotee of the Lord. So that's why his name is Dhritarashtra, because Dhrit Rashtra, somebody who's holding on to the Rashtra very rigidly, very fixed in his attachment to his Rashtra, his kingdom. So he was very attached to his kingdom. And even that soul, Dhritarashtra, was able to leave the household and quit, go to forest, okay? And finally, he was able to achieve the perfection of life that we are all looking for. He finally got connected to the divine, and him and his wife Gandhari, they both left home. But you would think, okay, so, you know, they lost war. So after Mahabharata, maybe, you know, since having lost all his 100 sons and all his kingdom, everything, maybe he left. So what's the big deal? You know, people often, when they have reversals in life, when they have negative situations happen in life, people often give up, right? This happens a lot. This is called Shamshan Vairagya. When some big death happens in your family, some big loss of loved one happens, suddenly this feeling of detachment comes. Oh, this world is not useful to me. I should cut off my attachments, my material desires, and all those things happen. That is called Shamshan Vairagya. But that's not what happened with Dhritarashtra. It's not like he left kingdom right after he won the war. Lost the war. Actually, he stayed on with his five nephews under the care of Yudhishthir Maharaj for many, many years. He stayed on in the kingdom and he was just living there under his keep, under Yudhishthir's keep for many, many years until something happened. Okay. Can anybody guess what happened? Something happened. What happened many years later, many years since the Mahabharata? Not for our senior devotees, of course. This katha is more for people that are just getting introduced to Srimad Bhagavatam. So what do you think? Just take a guess. What happened? What made finally the loss of the war did not make him leave. He still stayed on, but something made him leave, and that's what we will read about today. So sometimes, like I'm a doctor and I do a lot of surgery. Sometimes the disease is so deep, sometimes you cannot treat it with medicine. Okay. So sometimes the disease of attachment also, the desires in this world are so deep that you have to do surgery. You cannot treat it with medicine. So Dhritarashtra needed a surgery. So what happened? What was the surgical treatment that he got? Any guesses? Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, 3 times Hari Bol for Prabhuji. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So we are going to read about this glorious brother. So who was the brother? Vidura, right? Vidura. So if you remember the lineage in Mahabharata, there were 3 brothers, right? Pandu, Dhritarashtra, and Vidura. Now Pandu and Dhritarashtra were of sort of royal blood or royal heritage because they were born from the princesses. Same father, all 3 have same father. Who's the father? Vyas, right? Vyasadeva is the father. So such a pure devotee, such an advanced, self-realized soul who has composed all our literature, all our Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, everything was compiled by Vyas. So the father is same for all the 3 brothers, but the mother actually determines the heritage of the sons. So the 2 brothers, Pandu and Dhritarashtra, could have claim to the throne because they were born by 2 princesses, Ambika and Ambalika. But Vidura was born of a maid servant. So he was actually a Shudra. He was not a Kshatriya. He could not have any claim to the throne. He could not inherit the throne because he was born from a maid servant, even though he was son of also a very great transcendentalist, devotee Vedyas. So let's read about Vidura. So like Prabhuji said, remember Vidura went on a pilgrimage when war of Mahabharata started. Actually, that's a very nice incident to read about, how he left for pilgrimage. He was serving his brother very, very devotedly, had a great affection for his brother, really wanted to do right by him, always giving him right counsel, right advice. But then finally they really insulted Krishna. When Krishna came as a messenger, they really insulted him. And devotee cannot take the insult of Lord. So when Vidura saw that that my brother and his sons, they have crossed all limits of indecency and they're really treading on the path of adharma, I cannot accompany them on this journey. This journey is going to lead to very sinful results, very low consciousness, and I cannot be part of this. So I've tried my very best, and he finally gave one last counsel to Dhritarashtra and his sons. And in that sabha, in that courtroom, he was insulted by Duryodhan very, very horribly, very, very abominably. He was insulted. Such a great devotee of the Lord, he was insulted by Duryodhan, and Dhritarashtra kept quiet. And at that time, Vidura decided, okay, these are beyond my help. They just need to, they have decided to go on this fallen journey of adharma. They just need to go on this path and stand against Krishna and see what happens. They just need to tolerate their sinful reactions. But I need to separate myself from this association and go my separate way. So at that time, he left the kingdom and he went on a pilgrimage to many holy places. He actually went. Okay. So for many years, he was going to different holy places. He went to Haridwar, Prayag, Prabhas, and he met many great sadhus there, and he took instructions from many great devotees and sadhus. Um, And then finally, many years later, when he knows that war has been lost, many years later, even Krishna has disappeared. Krishna has wrapped up his pastimes and all the Yadu dynasty has disappeared. So many years later, Vidura decided to come back for one last try to get Dhritarashtra back, get to see if Dhritarashtra can now follow the right path. So he has come back to Hastinapur. So Vidura is now back in Hastinapur, and this particular verse is recited by Yudhishthir Maharaj in glorification of Vidura, because Yudhishthir Maharaj and Vidura are very close, very have a very nice, intimate relationship actually. Can somebody tell me what is the similarity between the two, Yudhishthir Maharaj and Vidura? They are linked in a spiritual way. They are linked, but even on, based on our gross understanding of the two personalities, what can you tell me? What are the similarities? And then we'll go to the spiritual way. You want to say something?
I remember the spiritual way.
Okay, you want to say?
So Yudhishthir is Dharmraj son, like Dharma, or which is also Yamdev, right? Yes. And Vidura is actually incarnation of Yamdev.
Vidura is none other than Yamraj, right? Vidura is none other than Yamraj. And who knows the Dharma? Other than Supreme Lord, Dharmaraj, Yamraj knows the Dharma. So Vidura knows the Dharma. Vidura is very fixed in his Dharma. And Vidura is the is Yamraj himself, who has come down to participate in Lord's pastimes. And remember, Yudhishthir is the son of Dharmaraj. So so both of them have the very strong connection of Dharma between them. So actually, whenever Vidura needed to convey something to Yudhishthir, he would say it in a very enigmatic way, in riddles, and only Yudhishthir Maharaj could understand. So he would give, right counsel to Pandavas, and he would give it to Yudhishthir in such a way that only Yudhishthir could understand, because they, spoke the same language of Dharma.
I remember the example is when they were going for the Lakshagraha. At that time, Vidura actually told Pandava through a kind of riddle, because he couldn't say clearly because Duryodhan, would take offense. So he actually met them. He had some people who were in his service who gave him some information, and he actually told Yudhishthira Maharaj what to do and what stuff in a very riddle kind like way, like this. But only he could understand.
Exactly. So that pastime is very famous, right? Let's see just a few verses before the one that we're supposed to read today. So Vidura has come back, and when they saw Vidura return to the place, all the inhabitants, you can read the names of various inhabitants, all hurried to him in great delight. It so appeared that they had regained their consciousness after a long period. With great delight, they all approached him as if life had returned to their bodies. They exchanged obeisances and welcomed each other with embraces. So this is Vidura meeting with all the residents of Hastinapur. They all cried out of affection. King Yudhishthir then arranged to offer seating accommodations and reception. Vidura took rest, sumptuously ate, and he was comfortably seated. Then king, so king is Yudhishthir. Now king is Yudhishthir Maharaj. He began to speak to him, and all who were present there listened. So what did Maharaj Yudhishthir ask him? My uncle, do you remember how you always protected us, along with our mother, from all sorts of calamities? Your partiality, like the wings of a bird, saved us from poisoning and arson. So this is what Nirbhay Prabhu is mentioning about the famous incident of arson, Lakshagraha. While traveling on the surface of earth, how did you maintain your livelihood? At which holy places and pilgrimage sites did you render service? So they're asking him about all his journey to various pilgrimages. But let's read this verse, the key verse. It's a memory verse, and let's try to recite it a few times. I'll recite once, and then let's take turns. Bhavadvida Bhagavatas, Bhavadvida Bhagavatas, Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho, Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, Swantastena Gadabrita, Swantastena Gadabrita. Anyone else wants to recite? Yes.
Bhavadvida Bhagavatas,
Bhavadvida Bhagavatas,
Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho,
Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho,
Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani,
Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani,
Swantastena Gadabrita,
Swantastena Gadavita. Anyone else? Yes, Madhu.
Bhavat Bhagavatas
Bhavadvita Bhagavatas
Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho
Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho
Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani
Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani
Svantastena Gadavrita
Swantastena Gadavita. Any devotees? Yes.
Bhagavad-gita Bhagavatas
Bhavadvita Bhagavatas
Tirtha Swayam Vibho
Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantastena Gadavrita. Anybody else?
Yes, I
Yes,
will
please.
like to read.
Yes, please go ahead.
Bhavad vidha bhagavata
Bhavadvita Bhagavatas
tirtha bhuta swayam vibho
Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho
tirthi kurvanti tirthani
Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani
swantaha sathena gadarbhaja gabharta
Swantastena Gadavrita.
gadabhrata.
Very good.
Hari bol.
Reciting. Okay, thank you everyone for reciting. So the translation says, my Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. So Bhavad means your good self, Vidha like Bhagavatas, devotees. So devotees like yourself are like what? They are like the holy places of pilgrimage. Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho. Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. So because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, Gadabhrita. Gadabhrita is the name of name of Krishna, right? Because he's the holder of Gada. So the 400 form of Krishna, the one that holds Shank Chakra Gada Padam. So Gadabhrita. So because you hold Gadabhrita in your heart, Swanta, Anta, inside you, because you hold Krishna in your heart, wherever you go, that place becomes the place of pilgrimage. Okay. Hare Krishna, can we please sit down and honor the Harikatha properly? If not, please feel free to step out. So what it means is that whoever is a pure devotee of the Lord, like Vidura, okay, we have many pure devotees, but Vidura, for example, they carry Lord within their heart. And these devotees, wherever they go, even though that place may be very impure, very inauspicious, very unfortunate place, that place becomes tirtha. That place becomes a holy place. Okay. So that's why, Prabhupada told us that you can make your own house, Vrindavan. You can make your own house like a dham, a tirth, just by inviting Vaishnavas, just by having sadhu sangha, just by reciting Bhagavatam. Because when you're reading and reciting Bhagavatam, you are basically having association of the pure devotees. You're glorifying Krishna, you're having association of Prabhupada, you're having association of Vidura and all these great Uddhavji and all these great devotees right in your home. So your home becomes dham. So there is no point of somebody living in dham and just enjoying their rabdi and golgappe and all this stuff and not really doing any sadhu sangha, not reading any scriptures, not really going to the temple, or no spiritual consciousness while living in dham. But rather you could be living away from dham and doing all those things, immersing your consciousness in deity worship, in reading scriptures, in reciting Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, having sadhu sangha at your home like this, and you can make your house dham. So that's how the house becomes temple, the house becomes dham, right? So this is this verse. Now, is everything okay? Can we pay attention to the class for now? Don't worry about this. So I'm sorry, it's just my consciousness goes here and there, so very difficult to focus. So, can somebody give me example of some dhams in US? While in US, some dhams. I know that in India there are so many dhams. Everybody goes to Dwarka and Mathura and Jagannath ji and Vrindavan. In US, हम तो US में रह रहे हैं. What can we do? We need to go to some dham in US. Yes, New Vrindavan. What was New Vrindavan? West Virginia.
Yes.
West Virginia. So who made West Virginia New Vrindavan? Prabhupada. So what is New Jagannath Puri in US? Where is New Jagannath Puri? Everybody needs to know these so we can visit. Who?
San Francisco.
Yes. So it's next. So when you go to San Francisco, you know you're going to Dham. This is New Jagannath Puri. So just by Prabhupada going to these places, he renamed these places. He established temples there. He started Bhagavatam Kathas, Bhagavad Gita classes, Kirtans on the street, Harinam on the street, right? All these people became devotees. All these fallen people that were doing all kind of abominable activities became completely devoted to the service of Krishna. That's the power of a dham. That's the power of a pure devotee. So pure devotees, because they carry Krishna in their heart, they can convert any fallen place, something like San Francisco into New Jagannath Puri. What are some other examples? What is Atlanta? New Panihati Dham, right? What is LA? You going to LA, Mataji? What is that? New Dwarka, right? It is New Dwarka. Huh? Chicago, I don't know. We'll just say it's Kishore Kishoris. Kishore Kishoris Dham.
But I met there, His Holiness Sri Radhanath.
Okay, there you go. France is New Mayapur. So there are so many, the whole world can become dham if we just take, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the Harinam everywhere. Okay, so I meant this class to be like a character study of the two brothers. Okay, Dhritarashtra and Vidura. Okay, so let's hash some differences between the two. Okay, who can? So I'll give you some hints and let's see if we can hash out the two brothers' character. Okay, they're poles apart. We know that one is very attached, one is very detached, one is very wise, one understands the dharma but not able to follow it. Right. So tell me something peculiar about Dhritarashtra that, according to Dhritarashtra, was holding him back his whole life. What was it about Dhritarashtra that he thought is holding me back? What was the problem that he was born with that was a great hindrance in his progress in life? He was blind. He was born blind, right? So he always had this complex, or you can say this victim mentality, this inferiority complex, that I'm born with this physical handicap, so I'm not fit to be a king. And that was what was told to him as well. But in due time, when Pandu left, he did become king. But he was always stuck with this thought that I am blind, and so I've been told that I'm not qualified to be a king, or I do not deserve to be a king. Okay. So now tell me, this is his disqualification according to us, that he cannot be a king because he's blind. What is the disqualification of Vidura? Why can't he be a king or a very, yes. Yes, because he's a Dāsi putra. He's a son of maid servant, right? So he's a Shudra. So by our material standards, you would think, okay, he cannot advance very well in a royal court because he's not a Kshatriya, he's born to a maid servant. And these orders of life are followed very strictly, so he cannot become that. But here comes a difference between the two. Still, who lived a more happier life, who lived who was able to achieve perfection and who became a devotee of the Lord? Who was it? Vidura, right?
Vidura.
So what is the difference between the two? Each of them have a disqualification. One is blind, one is a Shudra, one is a king. The other is just the advisor, court advisor, but not really a king. So how come a court advisor who is a son of a maid servant, how can he become more advanced, achieve perfection of life very quickly, but not the king himself?
Was more detached.
So here comes the power of our mind. Okay, let's talk about mind. Krishna talks about mind in Bhagavad Gita, Lord. Mind decides where to put the emphasis on. Okay, when we have something negative going on in our life, our mind has a tendency to latch onto that negative thing and just crib about it. The mind just likes to focus on one, everything else is going right in our life. But there is one wrong thing going on in our life and mind will get attached to it. For example, you have had, everybody's had mango here. After eating mango, sometimes the fiber gets stuck in your teeth, right? The fiber is stuck in that one tooth. All your teeth are clean, but your tongue will keep going to that one tooth where the fiber is stuck, right? बाकी सारे दांत तो साफ है, उधर ही क्यों जा रहा है? Similarly, mind has the same propensity. It keeps going to where there is problem, where there is negativity, where there is a difficulty or reversal going on. That's where the mind tends to attach to. So everything else is going right. You have so many friends, you have so much family, community, but one person said something wrong to you, and you will keep thinking about it. How dare that person say this to me, that to me? That will absorb and consume your whole day and your whole consciousness and everything else. So many people love you, you're a good career, you're healthy, you have a nice home, you have kids that love you, all that will be forgotten. Yes, exactly. Wonderful. So this is the power of mind. So how did Dhritarashtra think? The mentality of Dhritarashtra is, I am king, but I'm blind, right? I'm king, but I'm blind. Rather, how should he have thought? He should have thought, I am blind, but I'm a king. So what if I'm blind? I'm a king. I can do whatever I want. The whole world, everything is at my disposal. Everybody will do whatever I say. So I should use that power to do something good. I should, so he was always in this victim mentality, this mentality of complaining, criticizing, finding faults, blaming other people for your own misery, basically. So this is the power of mentality, of changing our mindset. Okay. On the other hand, how was Vidura thinking? Vidura was thinking, I'm son of a maid servant, but so what? I am very qualified. I am very smart. I'm intelligent. I can change the world if I want to. The king listens to me. I can give good counsel to the king. I can do my best to change his journey, to change his path, so that this whole kingdom goes on the path of dharma. So what if I'm a son of maid servant? So his mentality was not to focus on this one downside of his life where he's a Shudra, but rather to focus on the fact that he has been given all the other resources, so smart, so intelligent, so wise, has all the knowledge of dharma, can faithfully walk on the path of dharma. And he thought, I'll bring about change with this aspect of my consciousness rather than to degrade myself by focusing on the negatives, right? So this is one difference that I wanted to focus on. This is focusing on one's weakness, right? Or focusing on one's strength. So we should lead our life focusing on one's strength. Now, we were reading, Prabhuji read with us, Ketan Prabhu, this story of Avanti Brahman. You remember how Avanti Brahman was so insulted by everybody? But what did he decide ultimately? Who was the cause of my suffering? Are other people the cause of my suffering? Is my karma the cause of my suffering? Are demigods the cause of my suffering? Is my planetary alignment the cause of my suffering? What did he decide? Prabhuji, remember? My mind. He said, my mind is the cause of my suffering. It's my mind that decides where my happiness and distress is. So similarly, in case of Dhritarashtra, I'll actually show you that verse. It's a very nice verse. He says, Dvija is Brahman. He says, Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetur na devatatma griha karma kala na devlog na atma matlab self na griha like planets na hi mare karma like fruitive activities. They are not the cause of my sukha dukkha. Mana parama karanam amananti. Mana, my mind, is the main reason of why I'm stuck in this cycle of happiness and distress in samsara chakram parivartayedyat. Right? So I'm stuck in the cycle of birth and death because of my mind. So as I bolte, in this world, there are so many miseries. There are miseries that are brought about by other people. There are miseries that are brought about by our own health and like anxiety, depression, mental problems or physical problems. Or there are miseries brought about by natural calamities, like by Devi Devtas. But, so there are many types of miseries. But why do we suffer? What makes us suffer? There are people that have all these miseries but do not suffer. And there are people that may not have any miseries, yet they suffer. It's the mind. So it really depends on where we apply our mental power. So this is up to us, how we change our mentality. We need to give up this victim mentality. Look for blessings. Have that attitude. It's called attitude of gratitude. So have that being in that grateful mood. Understand that this is will of providence by which this is happening to me. Just tolerate it, and this too shall pass, and rather focus on my strengths and blessings right now. So this is the key, key to happiness. Otherwise, you may have everything in the life and you may still suffer. So on the other hand, so this is the mood of Vidura, to be grateful, to be in attitude of gratitude, to always be happy. And what is the mood of Dhritarashtra? To be constantly hankering for more, to be constantly lamenting. If you remember, if any of you have read Mahabharata or seen Mahabharata, his character is like somebody who's always very piteous, very always just crying and always just complaining and criticizing. The person did that to me, that person did this to me, why did this happen to me, why was I born blind? All these hankerings and lamentations, to blame. So he was always what? Morose. And then he's always vengeful. He wants to take revenge for this, right? So this is one difference. I'm just going to mention there are many differences, but I just want you to change your thinking about things and go beyond, go deep and understand their differences. The other difference between the two. So Dhritarashtra was blind, physically blind. Okay, fine. But he's king, so he has so many resources. Anybody can help him. But physical blindness is not the main problem. What is the main problem? He was spiritually blind. Okay. Whereas Vidura has something that we all are trying to develop. He had the spiritual vision. So not only he's not blind, he actually has spiritual vision. He has the power to see things in the right way, not according to the perceptions of this world. He sees things according to the arrangements of Krishna. He sees things as a plan of Krishna. He understands what is the right action for me to do that will serve Krishna in the long run. That is, what is my dharma in this situation? So he always acts according to his dharma. He's not only acting for so spiritual vision and spiritual blindness make key difference. What is the key difference? A spiritually blind person acts for a very short term temporary bodily gain. Okay, so they are just worried about their right now, what is comfortable for me, kuch acha kha loon, kuch acha pee loon, kuch pehen loon, kuch dekh loon. Very short term temporary bodily gains, materialistic gains that actually have no significant benefit in the long run, right? But the spiritually people that have spiritual vision go beyond these short term temporary gains. So Dhritarashtra, what is his short term temporary gain that he's looking at? He wants his sons to be king, right? He does not want the same Hare Krishna. He wants something more for his son. He wants power for them, even though they don't deserve power. Even though he knows that his sons will exploit the power. If they get power, they are not responsible enough to use it properly. They will exploit that powerful situation. Yet he's ready to give the reins of this kingdom, the throne, to somebody so exploitative, somebody who's just has a dharmic enjoyer potency, somebody who just keeps himself in center. That's the mentality of Dhritarashtra and his sons. So he's just concerned about power. He's just concerned about ruling, about name, fame, kursi, throne, right? That's what he wants. So so this is called, I'll tell you an example. This is called changing our darshan, changing the darshan or changing the vision of our life. Okay. What do we see in our life? Do we just look at these temporary short-term things, or do we look at the long-term gains? For example, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a time when Arjuna in the very beginning was just looking at the short-term problems and gains. Is that right? When he was questioning everything, when he was getting confused and bewildered about his duty, he wanted just his family to be safe, right? I don't want to kill anyone. This will be sinful to kill my grandfather or to kill my teacher. So he's looking at very short-term thinking. This is short-term temporary gains. But then Krishna recited this whole Bhagavad Gita and his darshan changed. His vision of life changed. And he realized, oh, if I don't fight this war, if I don't win this war, then that will be a very big, huge discredit. That will be a very big, actually sinful action to not fight this war. So suddenly the war that looked sinful to him, suddenly not fighting that war appeared sinful to him. So suddenly his darshan changed. His vision changed completely, like 180 degree. So this is called going from darkness to knowledge, right? From ignorance to knowledge. So initially he says karpanya dosho pahata svabhava, that this dosh has come on me, this miserly weakness has come on me. So being spiritually blind is a position of weakness, of ignorance, of darkness. And then later on, at the end of Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18, he says, Nashta moho smriti labda. And he says, I will do your will. I will do what you tell me to do. He says, Tvat prasadan mai uchyata. I can't remember the verse, but he says in 18th chapter that I will do exactly as you tell me, because by your prasad, by your mercy, all my illusion is gone in the truth. So I will do as you say. Okay. So he completely submits to Krishna. So yeah, he says, Karishye vachanam tava, that I will do as you say. Karishye vachanam tava. So this was Dhritarashtra's situation, that he's narrow-minded, short-term vision, keeping himself in center, right? He has looking only at the temporary gains. He's being power hungry. And the biggest problem is he cannot see who is his well-wishers and who his enemies are. He cannot distinguish between his friends and enemies. Vidura, he knows, is very affectionate. He's a devotee of the Lord. He's a pure soul, pious soul. He's a representative of the Lord. He should listen to Vidura. He's his brother, right? Rather, he is listening to Duryodhan. He's listening to Shakuni and the Duryodhan party. He's getting distracted by them. And so this is our situation in world, that we are living in Maya. We are living under the influence of very, very materialistic people. And so we get very easily distracted by them, very easily swayed by the current of Maya. Because the current of Maya, it takes you with it. It's like flowing with the river. You can flow with it. But to flow against the current of the river takes hard work. So people that are spiritually blind are not able to swim against the current of the river. They will just, keep going to the river, and just wherever Maya and other materialistic people take them, they will go there. So even though he understood that Vidura has his best interest at heart, he kept repeatedly making bad choices. He could not heed to the good counsel. So not only spiritually blind, he's turning a deaf ear. So completely deaf also, because not only Vidura gave him good counsel, Krishna himself gave good counsel. His own father, Vyasdev, came and gave him good counsel. This portion in Mahabharata where Vidura gives all the good counsel to Dhritarashtra, this is called Vidur Niti. Vidur Niti, or Vidura's ethics. And it's a very nice to read about exactly what all he tells Dhritarashtra. And the worst part is, so let me ask you this: between Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, both are, we understand, very power hungry people, me-centered people. Both have no spiritual vision. They're looking at temporary gains. Between Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, who is at bigger fault? Why is that?
Because it's the father himself is at fault. He's always complaining. That's the exactly same thing is passing to his son.
Okay. So let's say he's not the father. Let's say he's a friend. Let's say Duryodhan and Karna, they're friends. So Karna has really, not much responsibility.
Follow the right path.
So which one is at greater fault?
Between them and Duryodhan.
Why is that?
Because obviously Duryodhan has always followed negatively. Karan could have been a good person, but because he was fanatic, that he is the son of Kunti, he did not get the same rights like his other brothers and all that stuff. So he went in the party of Duryodhan. So they say, as a company, so the color.
Okay, but the point I'm looking for is, yes, that's the point I'm looking for. One has the knowledge and yet choosing to act against it. So Karna has the knowledge. Karna knows where the truth lies. He knows where the righteousness and virtuousness is. Yet he's going against. That is a bigger fault. What is Duryodhan? Duryodhan is just like a spoiled brat, right? He's just a spoiled child. So he has, even though he says in Mahabharata that I know the dharma, but from our understanding of his character, it seems like he does not understand the dharma, whereas Karna or Dhritarashtra, they have deeper understanding of dharma. Yet they are not able to follow it. That's a bigger problem than when you don't know the dharma. right? Of course, it is our duty to know the dharma. You cannot you cannot drive on the road and start driving on the opposite side of the road, and when police catches you, say, hey, I didn't know I have to drive in this direction. You cannot say that. If you're driving, you need to know the law of the land, right? So if you're living in a human body, you need to know what is dharma. So you're right. His father did not give him the proper values and virtues, and he was in a very bad company. And father was so consumed by his being blind, physically incapable, that he's not able to instill good character and virtues in his sons. That's definitely a point. But the fact that Dhritarashtra knows the dharma and he repeatedly says so to Vyas, to Krishna, to Vidura, he agrees, he admits, I do know the dharma, I'm just not able to follow it. My desires, my lust for this world is so great that I'm not able to apply this knowledge at all. He's a slave of his mind. So he says, Janami dharmam na cha me pravritti, Janami dharmam na cha me nivritti. I know what to do and I know what not to do. Yet there is some force within me which compels me to do the wrong thing. So we know what we should do and what we should not do, yet we do something wrong all the time. And we do this. It's not like okay, so in this story, one very important thing to understand when you're hearing this story, don't think we are Vidura. Think of this story that as if we are Dhritarashtra, because we have to identify the Dhritarashtra within. Of course, we are not, black and white. So we have shades of various colors inside us. So we have a little bit of Dhritarashtra, a little bit of Vidura. The point is to root out the Dhritarashtra mentality, this victim mentality, this spiritual blindness, this not heeding to the people that we know are telling us the right thing to do and yet keep doing wrong things. So that is the mood in which we should hear these classes. When you hear the katha about Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad, don't identify with Prahlad. Identify with Hiranyakashipu. Then only you will transform, right? There are many people that sit here, they're thinking, yes, I'm like this. I'm a very great devotee. I'm a very great representative of the Lord. I have integrity. I have all the values and virtues in me. Then there is no growth. So the point is to... Huh? Yes, yeah, exactly. So if we want to really transform our lives, then we need to hear it from the from the other side. Let me see if I can curb this Dhritarashtra-like mentality from my heart. Okay, so then next thing, this is the most important part of this class. If you will pay attention for a few more. So then finally came the day when Duryodhan really blasphemed Vidura, and Vidura decided, okay, enough is enough. I always gave good advice. I was such a good friend, such a good brother, such a good counselor and advisor to Dhritarashtra, to the king. And he had great integrity. He was never tempted by any easy way. This is another thing between the two, that, he's making hard choices. So now he had this choice to make, that either I can stay in this kingdom and support Dhritarashtra or leave. So he chose the hard path, and these tough choices, they're always hard, right? They're tough roads. Whenever there are two roads to take, always the right path will be harder to take. Okay, always the wrong path will be easy journey. So if you think, okay, I would just take the easy path, typically that will tend to be a little questionable. So he decided to take the right path, the hard path, and just decided to leave the kingdom, have nothing more to do with this. They've already committed so many atrocities against the devotees. They've already, all these people, he said, all these Kauravas, they have committed so much heinous, abominable transgressions, crimes against Pandavas. This is it. So he left. Okay, that day came and he left. Now, this happens to all of us. We have some reversal in our life. Okay, this is like a reversal, because he was serving the king in a courtroom, and now he was a brother, and he's a father, and he's a husband, and he has all these people under his guidance, and now suddenly he's leaving. So it's like a negative reversal, right? This happens to us. But how did he deal with this reversal? He dealt with this reversal very, very gracefully.
Okay.
And he used this reversal actually as an opportunity to learn, to advance, and to upgrade his consciousness. He went on all these pilgrimages. He met, who did he meet? Can somebody mention? People that have been attending Bhagavatam classes. Prabhuji, do you know? Who did Vidura meet? I don't know if you've come to that part yet.
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
He met Maitreya Rishi. But before Maitreya Rishi, who did he meet? Uddhava. So remember, Uddhava is a pure devotee, great devotee of the Lord. Uddhav and Krishna Prasang, very, very deep, very, very wonderful. So he met Uddhavji, and Uddhavji gave him some, you know, remember, Uddhavji is very young. Vidura is the age of Uddhav's father. So Uddhav gave him some knowledge, but he said, you should really, because you're the age of my father, you should approach a senior person like Maitra Rishi. Please go to Maitra Rishi. So in Hardwar, Vidura met Maitra Rishi, accepted him as his teacher, and got many, many, numerous teachings about devotional service, about Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is Vidura. So when the reversal came, how was he? He was ready to learn, to jump into the opportunity and use that reversal as an opportunity to learn. Secondly, he was very flexible. He was not like fixed or attached to this kingdom or attached to his family. He was very flexible. Okay, this is by the arrangement of providence. This has come my way by arrangement of Krishna. I'm going to use this situation, right? So he was fearless. He was flexible. He was fearless, and he was positive. He was surrendered. Okay, he was free. Whereas Dhritarashtra, on the other hand, even when he lost the war, what should he have done? He should have left. He should have left the kingdom, just like Vidura left that day after losing the war. He still stayed on in the kingdom, which means still shows he's very rigid, he's very attached, and he's very fearful. Okay, so you see the difference between a surrendered soul and a attached soul. A surrendered soul is very free, very flexible, very fearless. You see the difference? He had a reversal, he left. Okay, I cannot be part of this atrocity anymore, I'm leaving. Whereas Dhritarashtra, despite losing the war, staying under the rule of the same Bhima that killed all his 100 sons. Bhima killed all his 100 sons, yet staying under the keep of the same Bhima. Right? This is an opportunity now to progress and advance your consciousness. Leave this kingdom that has dragged you down all your life. You've been attached to this kingdom all your life. Now leave. Still did not leave. So that is fixed, fearful, and very rigid. Okay. But then let's read a few verses, because this is hard hitting verses. What happens? Vidura has come back. Okay. He came back. He had waited patiently. Okay. Now he came back to strike one last time. He thought, I have taught my brother so many times. He never heeded my good counsel. I'm going to do this one last time. Now this is many, many years later. And this time, Dhritarashtra will listen. Okay. This time, Dhritarashtra will listen and leave. But look at what Vidura will say. And we don't want anybody ever to have to say all these things to us. Vidura was heavy-handed. So if you're ready to take some heavy-handed stuff, please listen. So let's see. Oh, I'm on the wrong chapter. Here we are. This is Vidura's conversation with Dhritarashtra. Okay. I'm just going to read quickly. Insurmountable. Okay, so Vidura is going to give the knowledge of time to Dhritarashtra, that you are stuck here and time is running out. So he says, insurmountable eternal time imperceptibly overcome those who are too much attached to family affairs and are always engrossed in their thought. Mahatma Vidura knew all this, and therefore he addressed Dhritarashtra saying, my dear king, please get out of here immediately. Do not delay. Just see how fear has overtaken you. Abhi hum mild shuru honge. Abhi dekho. How fear has overtaken you. See the surgery coming up. This frightful situation cannot be remedied by any person in this material world. My Lord, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the eternal time, Kal, that has approached us all. Whoever is under the influence of Supreme Kal must surrender his most dear life, and but to speak of other things such as wealth, honor, children, land, and home. Your father, brother, well-wisher, sons are all dead and passed away. You yourself have expanded the major portion of your life. Expanded is a nice way to say wasted. The major portion of your life. Your body is now overtaken by invalidity, and you are living in the home of another. You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened, your intelligence is disturbed, your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus. Alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating the remnants of food given by Bhim. कुत्ते की तरह रह रहे हो इस घर में और भीम का खा रहे हो. There is no need to live a degraded life and subsist on the charity of those whom you tried to kill by arson. Same people you tried to burn them and poisoning. You insulted their married wife and usurped their kingdom and wealth. Despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to live even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment. So, in this way, it goes on long. I won't go into all of this. But you see how heavy-handed Vidura was, right? So he kept giving more and more. And we don't want to come to this situation where we are so old and decrepit, or, we have wasted our whole life in all these materialistic endeavors, and then come to the end and realize, oh, this is the end. What did I do? Now Krishna is facing his Kal in front of us, like just like in this case of Dhritarashtra, and we realize looking back at our life, yes, I had a home, I had a car, I had kids, I had grandkids, but I did not use the human life for what it was meant for. So so basically Vidura is showing the mirror to Dhritarashtra. So having read this, tell me, so yes, Vidura was very heavy-handed here, but why is it that Dhritarashtra was not able to hear to his good counsel before, but now he heard and left home? This time he left. What changed? Why is it that now he's able to hear? He's lost everything. Yeah, so he has no attachments. He has lost everything. He has seen the effect of time. That time, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Mrityu sarva saras chaham. कि मैं काल हूँ और मैं मृत्यु की तरह आऊंगा और सब कुछ हर के ले जाऊंगा. So काल or time will take away everything in due time, right? So he has seen everything leave him. His health is dwindling. His sons are gone. His kingdom is gone. He's just living at the mercy of the Pandavas. And they're very nice. They're very nice. They're very glad to keep him. They're very glad to have him. They honor him and Gandhari. They're keeping them, they're like their own parents. But still, we're thinking from the perspective of Dhritarashtra. So, okay, yes, he's lost all his attachments. What else? What else has happened that makes him hear now? Before he could not hear. Before Vidura was giving the small medicine dose that was not working. Now he did surgery.
Mind, Vidura has changed his mind or changed.
What has happened to Dhritarashtra? What has clicked finally?
Spiritual vision changing. Vidura changed his.
What else? झटका लगा पर झटका तो वॉर के बाद भी लगा था ना. So one important point I'm looking for, what was it that was keeping him, like you said, he had attachments? More on that, huh?
He's no more the king.
But he's not been king for last many years now. It's been like 35 years since he's been living here. Old, okay. What else? He does not have, so like Mataji said, no attachments, meaning most important, he does not have the bad association of Duryodhan and party. Duryodhan, Shakuni, all those 100 sons that were dragging him down, that were flaming this fire of being power hungry, that were flaming his lower consciousness, that were flaming this tamasic nature of his, that were igniting this, lower modes in him. They're all gone. So now he has the influence of only the positive, only the Pandavas, all the time, right? And now Vidura has finally, as a pure devotee, come in the household and like a guru ready to take him, right? If we have good association of devotees all the time, and imagine there is no bad association, there is nobody. So you are reading, your exam is tomorrow, you are studying, right? There are kids around you, your friends around you that want to study, versus there are friends around you who want to watch a movie. It's possible if you are in lower nature, you will get dragged towards the movie. So you may go and watch the movie. But now those people are gone. Those people are not there anymore, and only the people that are influencing you to study. Hey, study with us, come read with us, So Vidura is saying, come with me. Come with me. So only the good association is remaining. All the bad, all the one that was dragging him down is gone. So on his own, he was very weak person, very piteous, even though he knew the dharma, he was not able to uphold it because he had bad association all the time, because he was very influenced by his sons and all these other people around him. So his anarthas, his me-centered nature was always coming up, right? He was not able to be Krishna-centered or spiritually focused and spiritually centered. They always kept him blind. They always kept him spiritually blind. So he was always distracted by them. And then, by the influence of time, all his desires have been frustrated. He has seen there is nothing in this material world. It's all gone. It's like chewing the chewed. जैसे chewing gum को चबा चबा के उसका रसा निकल जाता है, then you have no other way, either swallow it or throw it, right? Discard it. There is no more sugar in it. There is no more rasa in it. It's gone. So chewing the chewed. So he realized he was just chewing the chewed. And then there is something about Vidura that has changed also. What about Vidura has changed? So both have changed over time. This is Dhritarashtra's change, that all his distractions, all his attachments, desires are gone. Influence of time he has seen. Yes, very nice point. He's not his boss anymore, so he doesn't have to really listen to him. He can be heavy-handed like this. That's why he was heavy-handed. He couldn't be heavy-handed like this with the king. Couldn't call him dog and stuff. Now he can call him all this heavy-handed things. But what else has changed about Vidura?
We discussed it already too.
He became fearless.
Why? Well, he was fearless before, but something very important has happened.
All the dhams that he was under his charan of Guru.
Yes. So he got instructions from another pure devotee. He became a proper devotee. He became a disciple. He's learned the proper knowledge. He's understood. So before he was still in a professional life in the courtroom as a court advisor, right? He was a mantri. Now he has no professional allegiance, like Mataji said, and he has become in true way empowered by the Guru. Our Guru empowers us. That's why we say that we should accept a Guru who will empower us. Guru gives us the mercy. So the knowledge that you give to somebody else actually manifests in their heart. We are empowered, like Prabhupada was empowered by his Guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. He was empowered by his own Guru. Like that, we are getting the mercy. Mercy flows downwards. So now his words have that power to actually cause transformation in the heart of somebody like Dhritarashtra. So both have changed, and so now this time he's become amenable to hearing the lesson, right? Okay. One last point I'll make to distinguish between the two. And I think this is a very practical point, which kids will also understand, and practical point from Bhagavad Gita also. Dhritarashtra, this was his tendency. What did he keep doing? He was always comparing with the Pandavas. He had this unhealthy mentality of competition and comparison and criticism of the other side, of the other people. And if you see in our life, we also have this tendency. We are always comparing our lives goals, our lives achievements with other people's. Somebody got married at this age, somebody started earning this much money or this much package at this age, or had kids at this age, they have this bigger house, I have this bigger house, they have these many cars, I have 2 cars, I have 3 cars, whatever. People are always comparing. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, okay, there are only 2 verses in Bhagavad Gita that are repeated. Can somebody tell me? Yes. 9th chapter. Yes. Which verse is that?
The last word only the difference, but both.
Yes, exactly. Which verse is that, Navya? Which verse is repeated twice in Bhagavad Gita? Quickly. Can you recite it very quickly?
Which one?
Either one. Okay, Hari Bol. And the other one is Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mamevashyasi Yuktvevam Atmana Madparayanam. So sometimes we have to repeat things. He repeated this verse. Well, this is not the point. Sorry, I was just testing. There is another verse that is repeated twice. Okay, that verse goes like this. He says, actually, I put it on the screen. Oh, this is not the verse. No, this is the one that I was looking for before. I'm sorry. So I'll just recite it. Shreyam swadharma viguna paradharma swa anushtitat swabhava niyatam karma kurvam napnoti kilbisham. Krishna says, always practice your own dharma. Always follow your own purpose in life. Do not compare with other people. Paradharmat. Paradharm. Paradharm को मत देखो. Somebody else is doing something. This person's child is becoming an astronaut, so my child should also become astronaut. But he doesn't have any inclination towards anything, related to science or maths. Maybe he wants to be an artist. Maybe he wants to be a photographer. Everybody has their own potencies, their own tendencies, their own abilities, their own resources that are given to them. So we should follow our own purpose in life. We should not try to imitate other purpose life. Like Einstein said, everybody is a genius, but if you tell a fish, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then the fish will spend its whole life thinking that it is foolish, right? It is dumb. Why? Because fish has not been given the ability to climb a tree. So everybody has been given different abilities, and we do not need to set our goals according to other people's goals. So follow your own purpose. But what did Dhritarashtra do? He was just always in constant competition and this comparison, this unhealthy um, competition with the Pandavas, and that was part of his ruin because they were not meant to rule. The Kauravas, their mentality, their tendency was very enjoy tendency. When you become a king, you're a representative of the Lord. You have to keep other persons interested in the front. So you have to be very righteous, virtuous, noble soul. And he could see, he knew that my sons are not like that. They do not have those tendencies. So they should not be pushed into that. So right from the very beginning, he should have cultivated these qualities in them. Either, make them very virtuous and noble, or if by their own nature they are not like that, then don't flare up these dreams of becoming a king. He always thought, no, they have the claim to the throne. No, but they don't, because they do not deserve. They do not deserve this throne. They keep themselves in front of the other person, so they cannot become a king. And he had precedence. You know that King Bharata, whose name keeps coming over and over again in Bhagavad Gita, he gave up his own 9 sons and put somebody else on the throne. So he had the precedence in his own lineage of somebody choosing someone else. And he didn't even have to look far. For him, it was just his nephews. He knew my Yudhishthir is so wonderful. He's Dharmaraj. He's a wonderful person. He's called Ajat Shatru. Ajat Shatru is somebody whose Shatru, whose enemy is never born. This is Yudhishthir. This should become the king. But rather, he's just competing with the Pandavas. So that was his downfall as well. Okay, so I think we can stop here. Anybody wants to ask any questions, share any realizations, reflections? I just wanted to present this very nice discussion about Mahatma Vidura. He's called Mahatma. There are many few people who really deserve this title of Mahatma. We give the title very easily, but it's not everybody deserves it. Yes, Navya.
Why did the Jackie have so many sons?
So, actually, the way the Dhritarashtra's sons were born, even when they were born, Vidura had told, because Vidura could see, he had spiritual vision, he understood Lord's plans. He could see that these sons will bring about the downfall of the kingdom. When they were born, he said, they were not even born yet. They were born by a very weird process. You can get rid of this Duryodhan. He said, you get rid of this one. You can get rid of one. You can always get rid of one person for the benefit of the whole kingdom. You can get rid of one kingdom for the benefit of the whole country. You can get rid of one country for the benefit of the whole universe. So he gave that counsel. But even then, Dhritarashtra did not hear.
There is a whole story of
because
this question comes, like why Dhritarashtra asked this question.
This is a very nice story.
Why did I get these 100 sons? Like you need a lot of pious acts to get one son, it said in our scriptures. And he got 100 sons. He's like, why did this happen? Why did I get, was it Kunti Maharani's question?
No, Dhritarashtra himself asked. Dhritarashtra himself asked, why did I get 100 sons? Why did I get 100 sons if they were to be taken away from me? So Krishna tells him that in order to get one son, you have to do many pious activities. You have to do pious activities for 100 lifetimes or something. So ek son milta hai. And you have collected many pious credits. That's why you got 100 sons. But there is a reason why they were taken away from you. And the reason is that in previous life, you were this hunter. You were this hunter who killed this nest that had 100 eggs of a bird. And since you killed those 100 eggs, you were destined to lose your 100 kids.
So you have to gain those pious credits through lifetimes to be able to get 100 sons, and then they had to be taken away. So that's how, we can't understand the actions of karma. Sometimes people ask, classes or other times that, why is this happening or that is happening, what karma I did do.
Yes.
It is not up to us. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said very clearly that it's not in our hands, and we should not try to understand the actings of karma. They're very complex because we only know the happenings of this lifetime. We don't know what has happened in the past. And Krishna knows. He doesn't make a mistake. He knows what has happened in the past, present, and future. So whatever he does, it is perfect. It's not a mistake. It's not like I was dealt the wrong hand by mistake, as it's called. So same like Dhritarashtra, he kept. Today's class is a great example. He kept saying that I'm blind, I'm blind. He focused on that, whereas he could have focused on the fact that he was a king. He could have made so many changes. He could have prevented the whole fight of Mahabharata. He had so many chances to do that because he was the king. He had so amazing people under his care. Bhishma Dev, he had like so many Mahajans. Bhishma Dev is a Mahajan. Vidura is a Mahajan. Out of 12 Mahajans in the whole history of our...
He was surrounded by 2 Mahajans.
Yeah. There's nobody else like that who had 2 Mahajans with him at the same time. So he had counsel
And Krishna himself.
And Krishna himself.
And then he heard Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
So I think we'll stop unless somebody has any questions. But I think the final, we really need to identify the Dhritarashtra like mentality and allow Vidura like people to enter our hearts or to open our hearts to them, to really invite them. Because there are very few people in this world that are bold, that are wise. I shouldn't say this here, but maybe kids read Harry Potter. Yeah. What does Dumbledore say to Neville in the first book? He says that it takes great courage to stand against enemies, but it takes even greater courage to stand against one's own friends, right? So you will have very few actual friends in your life that will stand, that are bold, that are wise, that will give you the right counsel. And we should hear to those people. So we should try to become a Vidura, to take help from Viduras, and to listen to the Viduras when we get them.
There's one question, and I think a lot of may have this question.
Yes.
So in this world which we're living in, we're surrounded by ourselves too. Like we all have this that mentality, and we're surrounded by Dhritarashtra, whether it's at work, your family, whatever. It's everywhere. So how do we get out of that? I know, like, to change our mindset, but it's hard. So if we can focus it just a little bit, give us a little bit insight on that, because we are surrounded by that everywhere, whether it's work, family.
I had the same question. Question I had that too. So thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Just to add more to it is in the discussion today, it was brought up that Yudhishthira had to lose everything before he was awake, right? Before he found himself and did the right thing. And we living in this world, do we have to lose everything?
No, see, that's the choice. That's exactly what we're talking about, right? We always have a choice. So Dhritarashtra always had the choice right from the very beginning. He just kept making wrong choices over and over again. So our life is the end point, is the culmination of all the collective choices that we have made in our life, right? We keep making bad decisions over and over again, knowing what is dharma, what is right. We do not follow that path and we make the wrong choice. Those wrong choices add up and lead to a life like Dhritarashtra, where ultimately you have to lose all to learn something. We don't want to lose all. We want to make right choices. And then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogo Kshemam Vahamyaham. I will preserve what you lack and carry what you have. So I will preserve what you have. So you don't have to lose anything. Because actually a devotee, a spiritualist, they're living such a Krishna-centered life that they're using everything they have in service of Krishna. Whereas what are other people doing? They're exploiting whatever they have been given in their own service. So you have two choices. You can use everything in service, or you can use everything for self-gratification, sense gratification, right? So we can make these right choices from the very beginning. But to answer Mataji's question, we are surrounded by those people that will distract us, disturb us all the time. So we have to just increase our positive association. We just have to increase our spiritual association. That's why we have to chant. That's why first thing in the morning, chant a certain number of Hare Krishna Mahamantra before leaving for work, because you're going into a battle, you're going into material world, which is like a battlefield. So you have to have proper arms, है ना? आपको अपना धनुष अपना वो सब लेके जाना है. So what is your protection? What is your armor? Your names, the holy names that will protect you. So Krishna will protect you rest of the day, but for those few minutes you have to really arm yourself with that those weapons, है ना? फिर बाद में भी the whole day you have to continue on a spiritual diet, है ना? Prasad खाओगे, you will meet with the devotees, you will hear them, you attend Bhagavatam class in the evening. On the weekends you nourish yourself, you know, do programs like this, Bhagavad Gita class. So have a, जैसे कि अपनी body को nourish रखने के लिए we keep eating so that we don't become weak. Similarly, so that we don't make wrong choices, so that we don't become spiritually weak, we have to nourish ourselves daily. On every few hours we have to nourish ourselves with some spiritual diet. Even लोग तो ऐसे बोलते हैं आप काम पे बैठे हो, खाली हो, do Hare Krishna chanting, read a couple of verses, constantly keep elevating your consciousness. Because the दुनिया की nature क्या है? दुनिया में जो force है, that is gravitational pull. Gravitational force is the force of this world. So it will pull you down. I'm saying allegorically that your spiritual consciousness will get very easily pulled down. So you have to really upgrade it every few minutes, every few hours, depending on your potency.
Well, I agree with that because I mean I have not gone to Bhagavatam class for 3-4 days, and these 3-4 days I've been feeling like my consciousness is going downstream.
So you have to be very introspective. So you're very introspective. You can.
I've been feeling it.
So Madhvi, actually, I was thinking the same thing. That's very easier said than done. But this is what we can do practically. So I was thinking about myself. We talked about this, that we know what is dharma, and we still continue doing a dharma. And in our daily lives, we all can look into certain things that are probably happening, that we know we should not be doing this or that. This is I should probably just be chanting rather than watching cricket or whatever, right? Or things like, and there are smaller examples, big examples we can take any, but every one of us knows things that we can improve on. I think there's nobody here in the room will say that I'm perfect, right? So I was thinking that the same thing was my realization that only by association, like today, we chose this time today. Compared to yesterday, my consciousness today is going to be better because I'm in the association of devotees. I am hearing Harikatha, right? So right from the morning, I'm thinking about the program today. I'm thinking about, chanting, doing kirtan or whatever. My consciousness is going to be better today than yesterday. It's probably going to remain like this until until I get back to my usual routine. So I have to keep giving myself doses of this kind of association to get my consciousness elevated, so it doesn't keep getting degraded. The more doses I give myself, the better my consciousness will be. So, like some examples were given. Every Sunday we can attend Bhagavad Gita class. We can do Srimad Bhagavatam discussions every day. Everyone is welcome to join. Again, you don't have to actively participate. If you're busy with something, you can just at least listen into it. Because we say we are busy, but really how busy we are that we can't we put on TV while watching while eating sometimes. So why not listen to this while, so we can, so, everyone's situation is different. I'm not saying you have to, or you have that time free necessarily, but I'm just giving an example that's how I think about myself, that if I keep giving myself these doses, the more frequently I can do it, the better it is. So that's why we have been trying to do more of these. We're starting today. We talked about, we have done much more home programs. We have done more. It is for our selfish interest, so that we can keep our consciousness better. So
I want to leave on a cliffhanger. So a question for everyone to think about. Okay? In Ramayana, there were two brothers, Vibhishan and Ravan. Vibhishan left Ravan and joined Lord Ram, right? In this also two brothers. Why didn't Vidura, when he left the kingdom, just join Krishna? Think about it. Haribo. With that thought, we'll leave, and you can think and share your answers in the group or in person, and something to think about, keeps your brain going. So two brothers, both righteous, both pure devotees of the Lord. Why did one join the Lord in the fight? Why didn't the other join the fight? Okay, we'll stop. Any other questions? Kids can also think about this question. Come see what answers you can come up with. Okay, if no other questions, I think it's Mahaprasad time now. So. Oh yes, Prabhuji.
I want to come back to what she asked about it. So one thing that I'm trying to add or improve myself, right? Going back to how can we make better calls, better decisions and all that. तो जैसे आपने बोला राइट हम सब में विदुर भी है और हम सब में धृतराष्ट्र भी है. So one thing that again I'm trying to use, so coming from some practical example, like so try to find more vidurs in your life that you can get the honest feedback on. The second is कि जैसे हम बोलते हैं हम सब में विदुर भी है और आप नोटिस करोगे कि जब आपका फ्रेंड कुछ सजेशन मांगने आता है यू आर मोर लाइकली टू बी अ विदुर देन डिस्ट्रैक्ट. पर जब आप खुद का डिसीजन खुद ले रहे होते हो you're more likely to be a distract.
Very nice. Very nice. Wonderful point.
So become your friend, not yourself, when you are making a call, and you will more likely follow the good path than the distract.
So, Prabhuji, this is very important point that you said. This comes down to the fact that charity starts at home. So first of all, you have to make an internal change. Only then it will reflect externally. Okay. Otherwise, it's just baatein. Agar aap kisi ko kuch bata rahe ho, but you're not able to follow it yourself, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter, right? And it will not bring much transformation in the other person's heart. So the change has to come internally within yourself. Only then the external consciousnक्या of people around you and of the country and of the world will change. So change has to start from within. It's our personal victories that make for personal victories that make for social fame or something. So it's not outside that you have to impress someone or try to be a pretender and just say nice things. Inside what you do in your personal time, a great character is tested by the fact what do they do in their own personal time. Are they in mode of goodness or are they doing tamasic activities then? So in your own personal time, how are you nourishing yourself? How are you nurturing yourself? Are you reading? Are you chanting? Are you cultivating some spiritual activities in your life, or you just teaching it, so prachar but no achar. So achar has to be very important. So very nice point, Prabhuji.
Vibhishana is because difference is Rama is fighting for himself, right? He is fighting for himself. But there Krishna is not fighting. Right?
Okay, sure. Yeah, there can be many answers. I'm just looking for some. Yes, no.
I have another answer. It's because he didn't want to fight. Vidura just didn't want to fight against anyone because kind of like Arjuna, and he didn't. But he couldn't fight on their side either.
So remember, most important point: Vidura is not a Kshatriya, so he's not trained to fight. So that's a basic point. But also then there are many nuances to it. And of course, in the life of pure devotees, everything happens by Lord's arrangement. So at that time, when that incident happened, when Duryodhan really blasphemed him, at that time, the inspiration that Vidura got from within was to just renounce everything and leave for pilgrimage. So these things happen in the devotee's life by the Lord's arrangement. So that's another understanding. But also he's not trained to fight. He's not a Kshatriya. And third, he wanted to keep that door open. We try not to burn our bridges with our loved ones. He had really deep affection for Dhritarashtra. He knew there is something within him that can be fixed one day come around. If he had joined the other side, he will not be able to get Dhritarashtra back. So the war was already won. He knew because Krishna is on that side. He doesn't need to do anything there. But he needs to keep this door open. He needs to keep his foot wedged in that door. Otherwise, this door will be closed. He will never be able to come back to Dhritarashtra. So he was so merciful, so forgiving that he wanted to maintain that bridge, that one day he will be able to come back and get Dhritarashtra back. So that's the most common understanding given by the devotees.
And just to end the story, so we all know what happens after this. Vidura gives this counsel. They actually leave in the middle of the night.
They all leave without saying anything.
And, they all leave in the middle of the night for Vanaprastha, and then they go into meditation, and then they go into Samadhi, and then leave their lives.
Yeah.
Thinking about Lord.
Yeah. So they all. Okay, Hari Bol. Thank you everyone for joining. Vancha Kaltarupishcha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patita Nam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, La Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, kuch log
Yeah, we can do that. I'm gonna make this. I will just do the Aarti. Bhoga Aarti.
Bhoga Aarti. Aarti.
Bhoga Aarti. The